Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining me for tonight's episode of Beyond the Ballot. I'm Brady Meyer. It's good to have you all with me to start off this new work week. We are in the final full week before May Election Day, and my guest today is someone directly tied to an item that's going to be appearing on some of your ballots next month. We'll get there in just a minute, but first, I want to go over some of today's top headlines in politics from DC to the UP. Starting in Washington, we're taking a live look right now. A lot is happening right now in the nation's capital. First off, it's where King Charles III and Queen Camilla have arrived for their 4-day visit of the United States. Tomorrow, the king will address a joint meeting of Congress. It's the first time a British monarch has addressed the U.S. Congress since his mother, Elizabeth II, did so 35 years ago. Before then, and today, Charles and Camilla were speaking to President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. And speaking of President Trump, the Trump administration says it's reviewing security measures for the president after a shooting incident at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday. Several concerns were raised after a suspected gunman was able to breach security on the level above the ballroom where the event was taking place. Now, we've heard from several lawmakers on both sides of the aisle in the immediate aftermath of the incident. On his social media pages, Congressman Jack Bergman said, "God bless and protect President Trump, the entire cabinet, and all those who are protecting everyone in attendance tonight." The following day, we heard from Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin, who said, "I am grateful that the president and all the guests from last night's event are safe and no one was seriously injured. I thank first responders for their work. While an investigation is underway, we should all be clear that political violence has no place in America." And for our Wisconsin voters, your elected officials are weighing in as well. In a post on X, Republican Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Tom Tiffany wrote, "I'm grateful that President Trump, Vice President Vance, and all guests at the White House Correspondents' Dinner are safe. God bless the Secret Service and the brave law enforcement officers who protect our nation every day." Now, finally, Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin said on social media, "I'm thankful that everyone at the White House Correspondents' Dinner is safe and for law enforcement acting swiftly. While we still have more to learn about this situation, political violence in any form is simply unacceptable." Now to the UP. The public had a chance to hear from UP lawmakers at Northern Michigan University on Friday. Turning Point USA held a UP legislative panel discussion featuring Republican State Representatives Dave Preston, Carl Bonak, Greg Markinen, and Parker Fairbarn, as well as Senator Ed McBroom. The group discussed issues facing Upper Michigan residents, including energy, healthcare, education, and mining.
This is part of the job. I mean, it's communicating with the district, it's coming and hearing people's concerns, answering questions, it's sharing ideas. I love this part of the job, and it's always great when an organization has put together a forum such as this to make it happen.
After the discussion, the lawmakers took questions from the audience. Well, we're only 8 days from the May election, which many of you watching will get the chance to vote in. Here on Beyond the Ballot, we've covered a few of the proposals appearing on ballots next month, including Marquette Public Schools and the city of Negaunee. One we haven't discussed yet is Munising. There, the school district is asking for the community's support for infrastructure upgrades for its buildings. To learn more, I went to Munising a few weeks ago and had the chance to sit down and have interviews with the school district's superintendent, 2 principals, and a teacher. Now, because of the number and lengths of those interviews, I will be splitting this topic into 2 episodes, today and Wednesday. Now, for tonight, more of an overview of the sinking fund, I'm bringing you my conversation with Munising Public Schools Superintendent Mike Travis. Take a listen. Got Mike Travis here, Superintendent of Munising Schools. Thanks for joining me. It's good to have you on.
Great to be here. I appreciate your attention.
So we're talking obviously about the sinking fund proposal that's going to be on ballots here in, I guess, just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So just to, walk me through the proposal, how much the district's asking for, and what that money would be used towards here in the district.
Yeah, great question. So we are only asking, it's a 5-year sinking fund. Sinking funds can be anywhere from a year to 10 years is the maximum, and we're requesting a 5-year sinking fund on the proposal, and it will be for 1.5 mills. So for us, that would generate, in over 5 years, that would generate just over $2 million based on our taxation here.
So how far would that 2 million go to improving the experience of students throughout the district?
It would make a significant impact in this building, which is where the focus is. As we have no fresh air intake, we have no air exchange, no ventilation, and our boilers are 33 years old, and they have a normal lifespan of 20 years. And so we are, barely able to keep the boilers working operationally. They're so archaic that the parts that our maintenance director has to get for those, usually he has to buy them on eBay. You can't even order them through normal suppliers anymore. So really it's boilers and the HVAC, the ventilation and so forth that go with it. That is the key priority, as well as the windows. The windows are another major area of concern. Most of the windows in this building, they're the same age as the boilers. They're 33 years old. Many rooms don't have any windows that open. Some have 1 or 2 that open, but that presents some safety concerns, but also some comfort concerns as well. When you can't open windows in May and you can't open windows in September and October, some of our classrooms, upstairs classrooms, will hit 90 degrees. And it's very difficult for kids to learn and teachers to teach in that kind of environment.
I definitely don't ask this next question to rub salt in any old wounds, just to give context, I guess, to the viewers. 2024, you guys had a sinking fund proposal that failed by 2 votes, and you were here at the time. What have you seen in the time since, just as far as the impacts that that not passing back then have kind of brought in 2026?
Well, to add a little more history, this is actually our 4th sinking fund attempt in 4 years. So we attempted to pass it in May of 2023, and it failed by about 23 votes then, extremely close, about 1,000 votes cast, and failed by 23. And then we tried again in May of 24. As you mentioned, it failed by about 3 votes, 2-3 votes. And then we went again in August, and it was a similar, very small margin of failure. But then we decided to wait for a couple years. But the problems only compound. Our problems are not going away. They're only getting worse. We're continuing to have more and more difficulty with our boilers. We're having more and more difficulty with foundational issues here, things cracking. And what we really noticed especially during the flu season, because we have no fresh air exchange here, it's a petri dish. So when the kids and the staff get the flu, it spreads like wildfire here. The week of March 6th, we had one day where we just hit the required 75% attendance rate to even count the day with the state, and we ran between 75 and 80% attendance for an entire week in March. We had over 144 students absent due to the illness.
So what have you been doing to get out to voters and to share how big this need is to get this passed, and just do everything you can to make sure that it does?
Well, we have, we've learned some things over time with some of the other, near misses that we've had. We've done a variety of things, engaging, various community groups. I will be meeting and presenting to Rotary next week. I have upcoming with Kiwanis. And beyond that, I do presentations to our staff, so that our staff district-wide clearly understands what it would go for and the importance of it. Beyond that, communications with the community, with parents, we use our website extensively. We've also hired the Bennett Media Group out of Marquette, and they've done a very nice video and media campaign for us, producing 12 different videos that we are, as well as some ad buying that we're using as well. So we still are using some more traditional methods, such as TV6 and print news, but we know that much of the world is migrated toward social media and online. So we've leaned a little more heavily into that. But any chance we can get to engage the community, and it has to be a community-wide message. It's not me. I'm in my final months. I'm retiring June 30th. 30 years in education, and I've worked in 5 different school districts in 30 years, and this one by far has especially in this building, has the worst facilities. And I want the children and the community of Munising to have the same kind of advantages and experience in school that my children had in another district that was more, that had some other opportunities that we have not yet been able to leverage here.
In your opinion, why is the cost that this will be for voters worth it? Should it be worth it to them?
For me, it's not always easy for everyone, but for me, that's an easy one. The amount that, with an average home of, in the community of $150,000, your SEV, your taxable amount is half of that. So it's taxed based off from $75,000. So that amounts to 31 cents a day. So, when you consider the amount of money that, that we as, community members spend on entertainment, when you look at a wide variety of things, that people spend money on, quite a lot more money, it could be alcohol, it could be cigarettes, it could be lottery tickets. There's a wide variety of things that we as a society spend money on that I don't think provide as much payback collectively to the community. Also, you can ask any realtor and you can see the research for yourself. Strong schools, you get more than your money back with your property value. If the school continues to shrink because the facilities are poor and the town continues to shrink, that only affects property values. And it affects the overall longevity and health of the entire community. So this is about kids, but kids and youth and your school district is the central hub of your community. And really, your school system is a canary in a coal mine. And people really need to understand if the canary is getting sick, it could be problems for all the miners in the community if we don't do something to improve things here.
Where can people go if they want to learn a little bit more about this proposal?
Well, they certainly are more than welcome to stop by the school and contact me or talk to any one of our principals. We have quite a few teachers who are incredibly knowledgeable about what we're doing and the importance of that. Any of our board members, but specifically we have a wealth of information on our district website, and we actually have a web page, Sinking Fund 2026, that's dedicated to all kinds of information there. We have an FAQ document. We have a community slide presentation. We have a tax calculator. You can put in your SEV and it'll spit out what this is going to cost you individually. But I'd also like to let people know, if you are an elderly person and you're on a fixed income, that if your income is below a certain point, you can also get the homestead property tax credit that greatly reduces and in some cases may eliminate the addition of the new tax. And the same thing is true for those that live in low-income homes. Based on the income of your home, if you file for that homestead property tax credit, it can reduce the impact of these taxes on your tax bill as well. So the bottom line is that it's really we have to be conscious of our community right now in the regard that we know that what's happening in the world and internationally is having an impact on our community, just like all communities in the state and in the country. Gas prices are high, groceries are high, and we know that impacts people. And the closer you are to that poverty line, the more percentage of your income that just daily living takes. We know that and we respect that, and we just want to convince our voters that of all the things entertainment-wise, recreation-wise, that you could spend your money on, the very little amount that we would be asking from people if they were to pass this would have a huge impact for their children and the children for generations to come. I mean, this building is 105 years old. This community has routinely over the years refused different bond campaigns that would have closed this building and done some things because they love it so much. They have a sentimental attachment to it because so many generations of families have gone here. So, they've said through their vote that they want it. The thing that we're asking them to do now is to consider, if you truly do love it and want it, you need to get out and vote, because the longevity of this building it's in jeopardy. And all you have to do is look 50 miles west or east of us at Tequamanon area schools, and their building is their historic high school, built in 1926. They're most likely, the last report that was given to their board was they're probably going to have to demolish it. And that's 5 years younger than the building that we sit in. So this district, I think, has done an excellent job with the limited funds that they have of trying to maintain and keep this building going. But it's at a point right now where Band-Aids won't cut it anymore. And this district has Band-Aided things in this building for decades, and there aren't Band-Aids big enough anymore.
All right, that is all the questions I had for you. Real quick before we wrap this up, though, anything else, last minute things you hope voters keep in mind this May?
Again, this is not this vote is about the future. In my opinion, is about the future of this town, and I'm fearful and concerned for those that may not see that and understand that. All you have to do is look at some of the small towns around the UP and the number of shuttered schools there are, and the towns are dead. And I love this community. I'm retiring here and I'm staying here, and I want this place to be vibrant. I'd like this to be the kind of place where I would be happy to have my grandchildren attend. And I know if I were to have my grandchildren go here, I would want things better than they are now.
All right, there you go. That was Superintendent of Munising Schools, Mike Travis. I would again like to thank him for his time sitting down with me to answer some questions about the sinking fund, especially as he prepares to retire from his position in the district. Now, as I alluded to before I played that interview, I did have the chance to talk with a few others to get some more insight into the need for this ballot proposal. I was going for, I guess, more testimony from people who are actually in the buildings as well. I will be bringing you those 3 interviews on Wednesday. Now, until then, I encourage you to reach out to me with any questions or feedback about today's episode. You can reach out to me personally. My email is on the bottom of your screen right now. Don't hesitate to reach out. That is all for tonight's episode of Beyond the Ballot. Have a great night, and I will see you all again on Wednesday.